All right, good morning. So, tonight, finally, after months and months and months, we get back to our Symbaroum campaigns. These campaigns are shared GM role. David GM's a session, Dell GM's a session, I GM a session. Todd is part of the group, but Todd has not done the GM rotation. He kind of joined us a little late, so it's gonna be hard for him to dive in and without a lot of context of what's been happening in this kind of shared GM seat. Also, who's played with us? John has played, I believe, an ogre in one of the sessions. Unfortunately, the session I was not in. I might have played with him in the second follow-up session. I think he was in that session. And of course, we started with Justin, who was going to be part of the GM rotation. And unfortunately, Justin's it's just too it's time is a real crunch for all of us adults who have things to do. And so unfortunately, we do miss Justin. Justin was great. He's a great player, great GM. So hello there, Justin. Another Canadian, fellow Canadian role player. I don't know what it is, but it seems like Canadians outnumber us like 5-2 in role playing online, which is it's cool. It's very cool. Okay. Um, all right, and you can understand their language, which is amazing. They speak Canadian, and it sounds a lot like Americans. So, all right, the point is this: session 14. It's a big deal. As Dell, who has created a remarkable situation in a couple of Dell sessions, led to the corruption of Thistlehold in the sewers of Thistlehold. Uh, Thistlehold is a city on the border of the Davakar, which is the general reason why you game in Symbaroum. You journey into the deep Davakar woods and you hunt for treasures and you face great monsters and corruption. And Thistlehold borders with about 400 yards or 400 meters or whatever on the outside the fire break of the Davakar. There's a fire break between the woods and this walled, great, a wooden walled city. And the walls of this city are about 30 feet high. It's a palisade type walls, 30 feet high, and it houses thousands of civilians and adventurers, etc. And it falls under the yoke of the queen and the queen's laws and the queen's taxation, fees, all of this amazing stuff that makes for this civilized world, right? And the queen is human, Ambrian, and therefore many of the adventurers and many of those that live and reside within Thistlehold are Ambrian. And of course, they are seen as usurpers, the Ambrians who crossed the mountains in the Symbaroum lore and won the war and laid foothold, stronghold in the north, and really, in many ways, are resented by the rest of the races. Right, the barbarians may have a decent relationship, but there are some barbarians that aren't real happy about the Ambrians. The Iron Pact, the elves in particular, protect the Davakar. They have a pact to kill Ambrians and all adventurers who threaten the Great Davakar. That kind of thing, right? And we have goblins, we have ogres, and it's amazing. So it's a dark fantasy that is non-traditional, right? Elves and goblins and ogres, all completely different than, say, Tolkien. And it is a player role only, player first game. And it is, for me, for a modern D20 system, it's my favorite, bar none. Matter of fact, it's the only modern D20 game I have played really consistently in the last 3 or 4 years, and it's the only modern 220 game that I've played at all in the last couple of years. Everything else has been an OSR, which even if it's a brand new OSR, it references our old school game, old D20 D&D. So it's a good thing this is kind of coming up. Dell has kind of kept saying, let's get this done, let's get this done. And I've had illness, I've had issues, etc. So we're finally getting to this. If I haven't been unavailable, so finally tonight we're going to finally get to this. And it is big. It is a big kind of deal because this is an epic issue, as Thistlehold is, for the most part, burning. And we'll start in media res tonight. I've given them an idea of what's happened, and I've given them an in media res start, which means we hit the ground quite literally in action. There's not going to be a lot of preliminary It's not going to be a setup. We're in it. We're right in the middle of this burning of corruption from Thistlehold, right? So, but what's good about, in a way, getting to this is I have ebbed slowly away, not only from because of lots of things going on, but ebbed slowly away from GMing, and I've been unavailable to play or GM, and I've ebbed definitely away from modern games back to my roots, my DNA, my old school D20 roots, and uh, if we need to pick this up and we need to get back to it to resolve it, or it will be left unresolved because I am moving really toward the old D20 again. I'm the traditional D20 gaming, whether I use basic fantasy or Sword and Wizardry Computer Light or Sword and Wizardry White Box or whatever, more of the thing that I enjoy a lot as a GM. And so it's good we're getting to this as I'm feeling the call, right? The call. That doesn't mean I don't love and I won't play. David is mentioned he's setting up a one-off to run a game that I have wanted to play for years. And I was kind of surprised to see David mention it. And of course, I hopped on it and said, "Dude, I am in." And I bought the PDF last night immediately. Uh, so that is a game that I have wanted to play. Um, I mean, for years, and I never bought it because I didn't think I'd play it. I wasn't certain I'd ever run it, but I've been aware of it for a long time, and it is my favorite kind of fantasy. It is high adventure, Conan-esque swords and sorcery fantasy, which is really my favorite kind of fantasy. If I had to choose between, say, Lord of the Rings and Conan, it would be Conan any day of the week. Um, where magic is deadly, magic is really utilized by the enemy, and human centric, right? That kind of world. So, sword and sorcery, man, high adventure, simple game, right? So I'm looking forward to that. Anyway, I'm getting off track. My point is give me simple, give me fantasy, and I'm happy. So Symbaroum, again, brilliant game, and tonight is going to be the first really in media res start I've done for Symbaroum. So this is going to be great fun and incredibly dangerous as Thistlehold is set alight. Um, it's a big, crowded city of wood for the most part. Dell describes a sewer system in which these rituals went down that kind of created some corruption that needs to be eradicated. But the reality is, most of Thistlehold, as is Yindarus, all wooden structures. So you can imagine how how dumb it is for the Father Cervello to convince the Queen's legation to burn the corruption from the sewers. So not real smart for Father Cervello, not real smart for the Queen's legation to accept this. And there we have it. They are trying to burn in a tight, crowded city of wooden structures using fire, right? So very, very cool. So you can imagine what what the danger is here. Only one exit on the south gate available in a giant city crowded with people in panic. They find themselves at the city plaza, the Antiques Plaza, which is right smack in the middle of the city, and all the army, etc., are warning citizens to get out, to evacuate, and head for the southern. So you can imagine a bottleneck to the Great Southern Gate to escape Thistlehold, as the northern area of Thistlehold is already burning. And there you have it. And of course, Malleus, again, harkening back to one of Dell's Dell's narrative strokes and Dell's games. Dell had a narrative stroke that David had mentioned in passing when we started our characters, that his character liked to have liaisons with married women. And Dell remembered that, and he kind of drew on that thread in one of Dell's games, in which he tied one of Malleus's indiscretions to an angry nobleman, and this nobleman has caused some pain and suffering for Malleus, but yet has not yet finished his job. And we start in media res where this nobleman has issued a civil writ of arrest for Malleus. He wants Malleus brought to in a civil. And these black coats, which normally hunt witches, are now hunting Malleus, and how he could convince Blackcoats to pursue Malleus. Malleus also suffers with a little corruption. There's a little rumor going around that Malleus has been sick with corruption and with a fungus. So the Blackcoats, although witch hunters generally would certainly want to find, maybe he has, maybe the nobleman has maybe lied a teeny bit about how corrupt David is. But either way, Blackcoats are working through this chaos of crowds and madness, trying to get hold of Malleus, and we will start the session with them in these crowds in the plaza, hunting down Malleus and his two friends. So it's going to be great fun. And again, this is good because uh, I've been ebbing away from returning to because once you get away from something for such a long time, it's hard sometimes to get back. And once you get back to some of those simpler games, those root games, those DNA games, the games of our careers, the games of our past, the games that we can do. I mean, we could be doing Symbaroum with Moldvay D&D, with OSC, with Whitebox, the game system. We could literally be doing what we're doing with those. We just would have to have a world and an IP canon that we agree upon, right? The experience is different in the sense that the players they make all the dice rolls. GM focuses solely on the motives and the actions and the narration, and the players make all rolls against their characters or for their characters. And the players can also call upon their own attributes and can call upon scenes. They can say, hey, right? They can, in a way, they can actually start a scene that we would then work to resolve conflict and a die roll, etc., to see where that scene gets them before we might move on to a kind of a pre-designed or a new scene. So the players have a little bit more agency in Symbaroum, or they should. However, I could say many of the actual play Symbarooms I've watched or listened to of my peers over the last few years, it's very much traditional. I'm not seeing where the players take a lot of agency and actually call forth a scene. So anyway, um, yeah, it's going to be great fun, and I am happy to get back to it. Been perusing the books again because I gotta sharpen up. I was going to do this a few weeks ago, but my voice, which is still affected. One reason I had to go back to an really old headset microphone is my voice. This helps me, so I don't have to try to project, and they can hear me clearly even if I can't speak. So uh, I don't know if my voice will ever be normal again. I have no idea what's going on with that, but fortunately, we have the technology to enhance that, even as my voice goes. So I have no idea what's going to happen. We play to find out. That's how we game all of our games. We play to find out. We have no idea how this is going to go, but I cannot wait. It's going to be great fun, and I look forward to it. All right, so stay tuned because that actual play will be recorded and it will go up sometime tomorrow morning. And then usually I follow with a GM's recap and reflections where I talk about the session. So if you don't want to sit through a 3 hour or 2 hour actual play, I will recap what happens, and then I'll do a little reflections on the experience and personal observations about the characters, etc. So hopefully that will be upcoming, and both of those should be up hopefully tomorrow. All right, bye.